America. 1,000 people. I said 5,000 people. I didn't even start with that. I started with 600 people. I said if 600 people put up $20 a week, they're gonna have $48,000. I went to like a couple of my partners. I was like, but we ain't even gonna do it with 600 people. Everybody was hustling. I was like, we're just gonna do it with 8 people. Everybody do 100. We'll take $800 and see what we do month by month. I don't know. That shit never happened. I was like. And we was still hustling every day, still working, still having money, still doing everything that we want to do. We was never putting money to the side, never doing anything. People were still going broke, people still going to jail, people still had stupid shit going on. I'm like, why haven't we built this business yet? This years that went by. I'm probably 22 to 25. I've been saying the same thing. And I'm like, okay.
What was your drawback there? What do you think was going on?
Because I had so much that my cup overflowed, right? So I had the normal mindset where I was like, I just ain't worried about people. I just wanted to do what I was doing. I was having fun doing what I was doing, so it wasn't really like a need to change.
Gotcha.
And I didn't look at the world. You know, they say yoga is the exercise that they have so that you can learn how to handle your energy and your intelligence that come into your body. So to balance your body out, your energy has to either work for you or it's gonna work against you. Yoga is what people do to make shit work for them. And a yogi is somebody that experienced the world as a part of themselves. And that's what enlightenment is supposed to be. When you look at everybody as like an extension of you, or I look at the TV, everything, I know it's only really 6 major elements in the world: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, and oxygen. So everything is really a part of me. It ain't like it's a lot of shit to choose from. It ain't a whole lot of shit out here. It's really less than a handful, damn near less than a handful. So, I wasn't looking at the world as a part of myself back then. I was looking at me as a part of it. I was living on the planet, not in the planet.
Okay. And for people who are doing exactly that right now, what do you think is something that they can focus on to take them out of that, to be able to tap into their natural talents, focus on things that will propel and elevate them?
I want to say books because that's what really worked for me, but everybody not like a book person. So I would probably say YouTube and motivational videos. I think motivational videos help people a lot more than they understand because of that energy, that frequency that you put inside of your brain in the morning. And even if it's only for, they give you a high. You might be on a 10-minute high. It's like, let me get some shit done. In 10 minutes, you'll get more done than if you fuck around and got done all day had you not listened to it. So, and those ideas that come to you from what other people say. So I would say, since we all got access to YouTube, you don't want to sit down and read a book. I was do books. I was listening to audiobooks. I was listening to motivational help. I got into consciousness, got into all this extra, try to study every religion, and I just created a thought process that involved everything. So I could see the symbiotic relationship between whatever was invented and why I felt like it was invented. So I would say people just start really them self-help books. Start doing challenges. Start being active. Start trying to make noise. The world is not finna give you anything. You can't force nothing to happen. You gotta actually create ways that you feel like you can merge yourself into the equation, but do it your way. And if people start to do that, people start to just realize that they can sing. And like, the simplest thing was making a video on Instagram, right? I used to think that was the lamest thing in the world. When Instagram came out, I didn't even want an Instagram. My partner was telling me about Twitter and Instagram. I'm like, well, I'm not up for that. No Twitter, no Instagram. So when pictures was on there, that was cool because I got into Twitter all the way. So I was heavy on Twitter, talking crazy. Then Instagram was kind of like secondary. I was like, all right, well, I guess we can take some pictures and let people see us. But when the videos drop, a lot of people make videos. I'm like, oh, nah, they tripping. They ain't doing too much. People are all in each other's lives. But when I started dropping videos, I'm like, oh, we could create content and we could use this, and my son and my daughter be able to go watch this in 20 years to see exactly what I was thinking this day. And I think that's the most important part, that people not documenting. It ain't really for you. You're not doing none of this for you, for your growth. You're doing it so that other people can have a perspective on how you view the world. And that's what changes the world, other people's perspectives. We got to live through other people's perspectives.
Speaking of perspective, that is so important. I think sharing those things with others. I think that a lot of us will avoid sharing the negatives. Everybody wants to share what's positive. You know, they say nobody's sharing their downfalls on social media or Instagram. But I personally think it's important to be able to share both sides. How do you feel about that?
All right, so I just share what I feel, right? So I might not say I'm super up right now. I might not say I'm super down right now, but I'm going to say whatever happened that day, I'm going to tell you about that experience, and I'm going to make sure people understand that. Like yesterday, right? I'm running for city council. So people be telling me about political events, and I always tell people, like, I ain't bagging nobody. I don't want to do none of that. I'm really not a politician. I'm just on the ballot. My people going to vote for me. They going to vote for me. If they ain't, I don't really give a damn either way. What I do is I already the job, and I do this for a living. I don't have like an outside gig.
Right.
So I go in there, and people is just different. A different type of energy, a different type of crowd. But the people that brought with me, they was able to see it. They was like, damn, this shit go on like this. And now that's gonna open their eyes to that. It's gonna open my hood eyes to that. And the kids that we was talking to today was 17, 22, like. I call them kids, they adults. But they like, why are they doing that? We showing them the videos. They like, well, that's crazy. But I know in their head, they like, man, no, we could be doing that. They finessing for millions doing that. We could be doing that.
And that's so important, I think, when it comes to sharing is, like you mentioned earlier, the people that are sharing their wealth versus by showing diamonds and showing this and the third, that should be motivating you. Well, it would be better if it motivated you versus you taking it into a negative light, taking it personal. What do you think, me personally, when people, that's a sign of insecurity, in my opinion.
When they like trying to overcompensate?
So it's not even, I feel like the people that are feeling like, oh, let me take that away from you because you're trying to stunt on me, when that's not necessarily the case all the time. People, I feel like that's an insecurity, and that's something that people need to look within and be able to determine, okay, well, why am I even looking at things this way? Because the shift, or the paradigm shift, as you say, is the most quintessential thing to being able to elevate. I think that me personally, I go to therapy, and before I went to therapy, it was it was a whole nother story, and it was because my therapist told me I was self-aware, and I used to beat myself up for being self-aware, but still being in having the same issues. If I'm really self-aware, why am I still doing the same things that I've been doing? That has me in therapy. And I feel like the focus, I feel like I'm rambling and I can't get out what I'm trying to say right now. But I feel like if you see someone out there doing the things that you feel are harming you in any way that actually have nothing to do with you, I think that should focus you more in on yourself and say, okay, well,
it's an ascension is from within.
Yeah.
So it's a protocol it's God protocol, right? So if you want to operate like through your God body, you got to be able to ascend. That means internal ascensions. We got to be able to internalize energy to use it for ourselves so that we can be who we need to be. What else we want? And it's really that plain. Like, people are disappointing themselves, and it's a lot of people that's why they are depressed. That's why they have whatever they going through, whatever is this trouble in their mind. They so disappointed in themselves because they not even trying, and they know it. And all you gotta do is try. Then you won't be disappointing yourself. You'll be thinking about a way to make this shit happen even further. That's what we need to do. Fuck. I mean, not. I agree with therapy, but fuck being down on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Find somebody that's, even if it's somebody you talk to, I want somebody that's gonna give me some game after I talk to them. I don't want to vent below and then I got that off. Hell no! Next week I'm gonna come with another vent. I need an avenue. Give me a way to pull myself up. Give me a bootstrap. I'll tie the shoes. So make some shit shake.
But let me say this. Now that ties into the question that you asked about like sharing those things and people like what they share about being like being vulnerable and the things within. And I think part of that comes from the fact of I don't go to church. I don't believe at all. But there is certain aspects of the Bible that are very quintessential for life. Yeah. One of them being testimony. Testimony to me is very important. I'm very open about my mental state and what I'm going through and how I feel on social media, which has helped grow my audience because people need that and they say, oh, he's human too. He goes through things because everybody just thinks I'm this guy that cracks jokes and has it all together. And they're like, oh, he gets stressed and depressed too. So the thing, like you say, when you see people with like a chain, they have their chains and they jewelry in their car. The problem is there's no testimony to go with that. So all people see is the end result and they don't know the process that this dude went through. They don't know what Pop went through to get the chain that he has or the shoes that he has or the jeans that he's wearing or the dress that you're wearing or to get your hair done or for me to go get my edge up or to drive the car that I drive. All people see is the end result. So their thing is this like there's no possible way that I could work hard and get that. So it's just like let me go ahead and get that. But nobody's putting anybody else on game. They get the stuff. A lot of people get the stuff. They're not like Pop. They'll get stuff. And they don't try to put anybody else on. They don't try to give anybody else the information. That's where testimony comes into play. It's like, this is what I went through.
This is what social engineering do, right? So I could take somebody that don't have no idea about nothing and give them everything that they want. This is how they tell. Remember Tupac mom in the movie said they're going to give you everything you need to destroy yourself. I could take everything, give it to them, and tell them, talk about this. It's going to pop. And then we're going to keep giving you everything that you need. And they need it because if you're not sure of yourself or you're not on your square, those minerals play a role. So say for instance a diamond, right? A diamond shining isn't, people think gold is just gold. No, it raises your vibrational frequency so that you can think better. Silver lowers it. Diamonds are supposed to fill holes in your aura. So if you're not feeling something about yourself, if I put these diamonds on, you can't even see my flaws. Because it's too much, it's filling all of the holes in my aura. And they need that. So if I'm going to fill the holes in your aura for you, if I can afford to do that, fuck it. That's why that shit is so important when people talk about like they taking the resources. Because taking the resources or taking really, ain't no such thing as money. Money is the currency that you can create out of all of this. So we agree to those terms. Anything can be the money. We can, the shells, fucking paper, fish, food, goats, I don't give a fuck what it is, anything could have been money. So now I have all these resources, I can create the money, I create the value. So whatever I say is valuable is real. So I'm going to study what's valuable to you that you could use and I'm going to give it to you. And then when I take you, I own you. And if you have influence, I created the influencer over you because I made all of these people poor. I can make them follow your moves. I can make them do anything you do, anything you say. And I'm the puppet master. So now I control them people via you. And that's what's going on through society right now.
Right?
That's heavy. That's super heavy. Because like a lot of people, the sad part is a lot of people will never come to realize that. They'll never really truly understand that type of engineering or that type of social conditioning because we're all under some type of brainwashing from the time we're born. Whether it's church, whether it's school, the indoctrination starts early on. So when you're in the midst of those things, and then like, first of all, I only knew what I was taught in school about slavery was they went and they got slaves, they brought them back, and then they worked here basically until they got free.
They worked here.
They worked here until they got free. They worked here.
They worked here.
Exactly. Yeah. So it wasn't until I was in college, like 2003, 2004, when when you really start to open up to like certain things. And I went to historically black, college. So of course that was one of the major courses. And
you don't have no understanding of slavery until you really. You got to be an adult. I don't know if you could be a kid and even do it.
Yeah, because it's like because the thing is that you're unlearning everything that some teacher, some people, especially in Texas, it's a red state, so their books are going to be tailored to be like, let's kind of water it down. When I went to like a lot of people don't know, like when I went to Jamaica. So I went to go visit Jamaica. So, but here's the weird part about Jamaica. They worship Christopher Columbus. They think he's a god. They worship him. I'm just like, and we're here like, fuck Christopher Columbus. And they just like, oh my God, Christopher Columbus is everything. But it just goes to show you the conditioning, the engineering that goes into behind certain thought processes because probably from the time they were born, they've been taught that Christopher Columbus was this dude. I remember the first time I ever was like, fuck Christopher Columbus. I was already an adult. It didn't hit me. And then like in school, you're not sitting here thinking like, yo, this dude came over here. It was people here. They were like, he discovered it. what? Like, come on, that's not how discovery
Don't
works.
say you get the 100
Yeah,
million
like,
motherfuckers
the
in
way,
process.
and they still tell that story to this day that same way. Like, there's nothing wrong with that story. Like, bro, there's a lot wrong with that, but they never tell the story that way. So that's where the conditioning comes into play. It's just like when you tell somebody a story and you tell them a certain way, it's easy to make them believe it if you repeat it over and over and over and over for years.
The cold part about that information, right, is when you take a story and you tell it to somebody the same way over and over again. Imagine if you had them worshiping it somewhat like, okay, we were talking about the Bible. They say everything. I'm a science person because I went to school for engineering, so I look at everything scientifically if it can be proven. Magic can't be proven. They say science is seen spirituality and spirituality is unseen science. So I could study the elements and see that there's a lot of shit that can't be obtained. I can't like create an equation for it, but it happens. So cool, that's the unseen science. I ain't gonna go into that. But if we got a book that describes all of the stories that people should be able to go through in their life, and we call it the Bible, and everybody has to worship this book, and at first when they worship it, they can't even worship it in their language. They don't even know what it means. So they just worship it to not get beat. But to the point where people are worshiping it, only thing they will ever live are the things that they've experienced. So they'll only compare their whole life to that book. So now everybody right now is trapped inside of like those spells. And those spells were initially written, like the inception of religion was probably the greatest act man has ever made, because the goal was to teach people the power that they had within themselves. When people read those books, Jesus ain't talking about. Jesus went and took the thieves, the murderers, and said, I need anything I want, y'all just give for me, and we gonna march around. Like real life. He wasn't like, yeah, we Christians. He wasn't a fucking Christian.
I never went for the Bible, period. Like once I turned 6, my aunt, she was heavy in church. Yeah. But once I turned like 6 years old, I started saying, this story don't add up and I don't like any of this. It doesn't feel like positive. All of this is trickery. That's how it felt to me. It didn't feel like something I wanted to follow. It felt like fables. Yeah. Some experiences that will help teach you right or wrong, or what's a good path to follow if you don't want to.
It has some good stuff in it.
Yeah, it's
great. Stories are good.
The stories are great, like all the metaphorical things. It's good. The problem with religion or Bible or just certain aspects of that is that man is tainted. So man put hands on it, and then you taint a message. And you can taint many messages over time. As I remember years back, there was a documentary that came out that was called Wall Monster, and it was about these people that followed Walmart and about how Walmart adversely affects the economies in which the stores are. And so they talked about all the stuff like how when Walmart opened, Walmart single-handedly became the biggest buyer of Sterlite, the bins. So they pretty much, what they do is Walmart comes in and tells Sterlite, we need 5,000 Sterlite containers. Well, Sterlite's like, oh, well, we've never produced that much, but they go ahead and they do it. But what happens is they have to put all the other customers on the back burner because they gotta fill the demand for Walmart. What happens is Walmart says, well, now you had to put all your customers away, so now we're going to pay you lower. Because the thing is, now you don't have any other customers because now you got to fulfill this need for us, and we're giving you all this money for this. So then they start undercutting all the businesses that they work with. Now here's the thing: business is ruthless. It's very cutthroat.
It's the next step. After that, Walmart start developing their own containers until you fuck off.
There you go. There you go. So now every store has their own branded things. They all kind of follow the protocol. The problem with that is that if you follow anybody around, even the best of people, the people that we think are the greatest people in the world, if you follow them around with the camera long enough, you could paint a narrative of them that's bad, because it depends on who's telling the story. And it's the same thing throughout history. Whoever's telling the story is the person that shapes the narrative. If you live in America, your narrative for our country was we're the most powerful, we're untouchable, nobody can defeat us, nobody can watch. And then 9/11 happens, and I'm just sitting in class like, oh, this is different. Nobody's ever punched us in the mouth before since Pearl Harbor. So it's different when you paint the winners write history. So the people that are on the outside, when we get our news and when we get our narratives, when we go to school, we're told these things in a certain manner. And then you get older and now you have to unlearn everything that you've ever been told, or you have to question everything. So for me, I found church late. So it works for me because I've always been inquisitive and I've always questioned everything.
Always.
And so when I finally found church was before I got married. I was like, oh, my wife has a really good relationship with Jesus. Maybe if I go to church, I can get a good relationship with her, and we can be closer. But I never did gain that relationship that I was looking for that could get me closer to her. And I remember going to church, and I would just sit, and I remember she would pay tithes every Sunday. She would write a $75 check every Sunday, and it would piss me off. I'm like, we got stuff we gotta pay for at the crib. Why is you spending $75 for that? But she had been going to church so long, for her not tithing didn't compute for her. It was like, oh, if I do this, God's gonna bless me. I'm like, I watched my mama tithe and it was broke. And she tithe. And I'm just like,
I know we got a group right now. It's the old ladies that we try to continue to help. Their biggest expenses are their churches. So even if they can't pay their bills, church come first.
That's a whole nother thing in itself.
Yeah, lights off.
yeah.
You didn't get church 130.
But he gonna give it back tenfold. That's
Right.
that's
I'm
the
sorry.
way. And the thing was that the church that I was going to at the time, because what actually pulled me away from the church was the church started preaching. Like there was like 2-3 Sundays in a row. It was like Sundays and Bible study, and it was like they were preaching heavily about tithes. They were trying to buy another building, and so everything became about the tithes. It was like you robbing God, and you're not gonna get blessed, and it was all this stuff. And I started to feel like, at the time I didn't know what it was, but something about it didn't sit right on my soul, and I felt it was very manipulative. But what's very interesting is I'll still go to church even though I don't believe. I'll still go to church because it's very interesting to me to watch people flip scripture. It's a talent, it's a skill to get people to buy into a feeling. And if we could take that and we could bottle it for unity as well, it would be very interesting, because it's weird to me that we can get people to believe in something they can't. Technically, you'll never experience it until you really die.
Yeah.
But if I tell them, if we come together and we get money, like if you have money, we know that if we collectively put money together, we can buy something big. We know that for a fact. That's this fact.
Yeah, that's even fourth grade now.
Yeah, that's cold hard facts. But for some reason, we cannot get everybody on board with that. Even the mention of group politics makes people mad, because black people really heavily donate to Democrats. And then,
right, yeah.
And so it's like, if you tell them, well, we should be donating to both parties. Chick-fil-A donates to both parties. Marvel, both parties. All these people, they donate to both parties because they have to play both sides. It's the monopoly board that we on, so we have to play the game that we're in. The thing is just that I don't understand why we can get somebody to believe in something that's not tangible, and then you can preach something and you have all the facts. You have there's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and they're just like, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
but I can get you to believe.
You can even show them examples of how
it's
it's worked.
Social proof.
But if I tell you, you're gonna go to heaven if you give me money. Here, let me make it rain on Jesus.
Hope is the thing.
Even stronger than hope, accountability. If I make it to where all I got to do is give 10%, and something gonna bless me. Fuck it, I ain't gotta do nothing else. I'll pray and believe, and then since how manifestation works, if you believe something to the point that you know it's gonna come true, it's gonna come true.
It's coming.
Your feet gonna move for you. You ain't gonna have to do it. That's what the scripture telling them. Like you ain't gonna, and that's an actual good way to neurologically program somebody to do work. It just doesn't put the accountability on them, so they get to go into their magic. So everybody saying, "Nah, I control the magic." But if you do what I say do, then it works for you. But it's just your shit. But it's really their magic.
I've always questioned the God and being an external source, just due to the fact that of exactly what you just said. If I don't actually do the hard work, it's never going to happen. And they say God meets you halfway, but like I can't be on the other side of halfway. I can't be on the just lay here and not do nothing halfway unless it doesn't work.
Think about belief. How it work. I don't gotta do nothing else. Even if no matter what happened, people can blame. We all self-made. We just only the successful people like to claim it. So wherever you are, wherever you are in life, that's you only created that. You know, ain't no. Man, it was cold outside. My birth sign is this, and the devil had my back. Nah, ain't none of that shit. It's all on what you believe, and your beliefs shape your reality. So if somebody can believe that God gonna do everything for them, they gonna get everything they can believe. Anything you create to work for you will work for you. Real life. That's why that shit work. That's why people can keep it going, because they don't need to know the facts. Keep it simple. Malcolm X actually got a quote. He say, The measure of a man's intelligence is how he takes difficult things and makes it simple. The measure of a man's ignorance is how he takes simple things and makes it difficult. Mm-hmm. That quote in scripture will be translated as, they broke it down from Osed and Osir and Herud and Osiris and Kemet and all of these scientific approaches to manifestation and mastering Kundalini into believe in Jesus and you'll get it what you want. They literally translated all of that into that. Mm-hmm. And it worked for people. Mm-hmm. So it ain't that they wrong, it's just that you gotta grow understanding and have that awareness to be able to grow inside so that people could be like, matter of fact, let me stop bullshitting and blaming everybody else. This shit my fault. Mm-hmm. I gotta take some accountability. And when I won, I won because of me too. Mm-hmm. And because I always hear people talk about like, my dad wasn't there, or this person wasn't there. So if you're gonna blame for all the bad shit that's in you, blame for all the good shit that's in you, because it definitely built something inside of you that you had a barrier of mental fortitude to be able to get where you are today. So anything that happened bad, that's what was supposed to happen because it created who you are, not invisible force. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That invisible force is strong. It's actually a book called Invisible Influence. I think everybody should read by Jonah Berger. It's amazing.
I listened to the audiobook.
I
listened to the audiobook.
Invisible Influence. That book hard because he talking about like just how you don't know something is there, but you know it's there. If I see a flag waving, I can't see the wind, but I know it's there and it's pushing it. Mm-hmm. So what is it that I can use to harness natural energy that's gonna push me? And it's shit out there. Mm-hmm. No matter whether it's, some people using drugs, but whatever they consider it around while they doing it, like they say, like we talking about emotional transmutation. People using sex as tantra to create their reality. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, when I fuck this woman, I'm gonna think about this and I'm gonna bring this to myself. That is a real mathematical equation. Man plus woman create something. Mm-hmm. It don't matter what it is. It don't gotta be a baby. I can create any idea through this woman. Mm-hmm. People are doing that, but people gotta be able to have that thought process to not just waste your energy and bust your nuts and fuck it. If you can channel that energy, man. Earlier we was talking about what like the words and shit mean. So when you go into the etymological roots of these words, study the etymology, right? When I look at shit like education, that shit, we thinking about education as teaching somebody something, but the root word is adoku, and that means to bring out from within. So we really not teaching people shit. We only giving people shit that's already inside of them and showing them how to master it, and to that point where they develop it better than you can teach them and they got it. Mm-hmm. But everything has multiple meanings. You know what I'm saying? So when we talking about optimism, for example, if we're going to take optimism and say, all right, optimism is a view on how one sees the world. Because you have a choice. That's what opt is. When you think of opt, it's options. Mm-hmm. Okay, I have options. I have a choice. I can look at the world, good or bad. What else is opt? Optical. Sight. So I can view the world to see it good. So now when I use these words to plug them into how I operate, man, I become a machine. And what we said earlier, machines beat humans. Mm-hmm. So now I can be a superhuman. That's what the fuck the powers is all about. All of these superheroes and Superman, Spider-Man, X-Men. All of these shit was based off of shit that man can do, but he have to be able to understand himself, or man has done, and it was unexplainable. Mm-hmm.
What's that movie, Mr. Glass, the first one? Mm-hmm. That's essentially the same character. He's normal. He's just a regular human being.
He's able to tap into a higher part of himself. Mm-hmm. That's like so
Limitless.
Yeah, and the same thing in Limitless, and unlocks a part of his brain. Yeah. But even if so in X-Men, right? And each staple of like Marvel's characters, they have different things on how they release their powers. And in humans, there's like a chrysalis they go through, and it's this, and it puts them in this basically this stone. Mm-hmm. And then when they come out of the stone, they manifest as what they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. If you're not a human, then you're just stuck in the stone. In mutants, for like X-Men and the X-Men comics, it's under great stress. Mm-hmm. When they find out what their power is, that's when they unlock themselves, because they have nothing left, and so they have to exert what they have in order to
show
that's
a bar.
The second, I think it's the second X-Men movie. Eric Lyncher, who was Magneto, he finds out that he has powers when he was a Jew and he was in a Holocaust camp, and they're dragging him away from his parents, and he reaches out, and then the gate starts pulling with him, but he's not touching it. That's when you realize, oh, he has powers. And there was in that point where they kind of like, it displayed that how everybody came to be when they were under this duress. And they have to pull what's out of them because they're trying to survive. That's what you read. So we see that every day. We see that with athletes. We see that with people who go through great sacrifice. Like some people who go through like stress will shell up sometimes, and then they just give up. And you see people who, like my mom, who raised 4 kids by herself and didn't have a degree and raised them, was able to hold down a job and go to work sick. Like that's superpower shit. Because every day I don't have no kids, and then some days I'm just like, I can't do this, bro. My mama did it with 4 kids, so she unlocked. That's a superpower, and this is
real life.
Because that's tough. Because I wouldn't know. This to this day, I always be like, how did you do it?
Styles P got a breakdown that say even if you playing basketball, you can dribble through your legs, spin move, pass it, and go for an alley. That's real life superpower. You're using so many mechanical functions in your body that people could not explain. And then I like this what you said about when they under pressure it brings something out because of how diamonds are made. You know, people say pressure busts pipes, but it also creates diamonds. But on a subatomic level, when we study it in the atmosphere, pressure in the air, you know, it's water in the air, so shit crystallizes shit in the air. So crystallized dark matter in the sky becomes a star. Crystallized dark matter on the earth becomes a diamond. So crystallized dark matter in 3D form in a living body in an electrical thing, what does it create? And what's dark matter on earth? It's us, it's people. So who's been under the most pressure? And what kind of star are we finna become? So that's what all of the philosophies and the prophecies from 6,000 years ago was about. After people are being under duress, what do they become? And the reason I do what I do is because when I did self-exploration and I found out about birth charts and astrology and numerology and all that, and I'm looking at it and it said, okay, so my birthday lines up with my odd, it's 9/24. So September 24th, I'm a Libra, it's a scale. My planet is Venus. When you study Kemet, their goal was when Mayat returns, she would restore balance by aligning the righteous for a rich procession in the consciousness and waking up the world. So, and it said it would happen in the age of Aquarius, the year of the 9 after the trumpet sounds. This is from Kemet to the Bible. Same story. So, when I was reading that shit, I'm like, all right, why the fuck is all of these religions saying the same thing? Because, like I said, I was from the school that thought, well, if I put everything together, it'll begin to make sense. I'm like, all these hoes say the exact same thing. It's damn near to the T. So what the fuck do that mean, and what do that say for us? I'm just doing the little imaginary math in my head. I'm like, okay, it's 2016. Trump is elected. That sounds like a trumpet. Damn, 2 + 1 + 9. 2 + 1 + 6 = 9. Is this the year of the 9? Damn, we in the age of Aquarius. So these prophecies ain't coming true right now. And then when you read it and talk about all that's gonna happen, and when you look at the fall of America and just what's on display and the bantering amongst the people that had everybody else subjugated, and they say the people that were subjugated to be enslaved, they won't even have to fight because the other people will do so much fighting that they'll just rise on their own.
That's happening.
That's happening. So I'm looking at it like, hold on. My birthday's day on my yacht, so I gotta do something. Because at first I'm like, nah, that hoe said female Libra. Then I'm looking at the planet Venus and they say it's a female planet, so you're female Libra. I'm looking at it like, man, masculine. Yeah, but you're female Libra. He don't even know he connected something in my brain. I'm like, okay, let's align the righteous.